What's going on, my friends? Chris here. I want to bring you all an update today of Bitcoin. And what we're going to be doing here is stepping back. We're going to look at Bitcoin on the 1-day time frame, and we're going to work our way in. Traditionally, we start with the 1 week, but I saw some good information here on the 1-day time frame, and I really wanted to map it out for you guys. So if you get something from these videos, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. It's always appreciated, and I'll try to make this as fast as I can, as I value you guys' time. So first of all, what I want to talk about today, guys, we're going to be looking at Bitcoin on the 1-day time frame here, and we're going to be using a line graph. And I really like the line graph because it's going to show candle closes here. So it's really going to be good for support and resistance when you're stepping back and really looking for those big major areas in the market. So we're going to be working with the line graph today. And the first thing I want to talk about was having a plan. And my main plan right now, guys, I don't want to buy in this area that we're at right now. Okay, what I'm waiting for is either a big break to the downside. I'm going to look for bearish volume and a potential buy right in this area here. And you can see from the VRVP right here, this is a main area that we have of support that we've had a battle at before, and that's going to be at around $9,500. So the buying pressure started around $12,000 and went all the way down to around that $7,200, $7,300 range. So that's the area that if we do have a downside break, I would expect us to find some support right in that area right there. So you can also see this point of control here, this red line, and that's going to be at roughly here, guys, let's see, at about $9,200. So if we do have a downside break, I'm prepared. That's an area I would feel comfortable starting to scale into some limit orders right in this range. So it's not a bad idea to have some, guys. I wouldn't overextend yourself just in case anything happens, but to have some at that range down there, some limit orders ready in case overnight we flush down. You know, the next week or so we flush down, you would be able to pick those up. And many times, guys, when we do flush like that, you'll get a nice reaction bounce out of there that you can sell into or that you can hold for a potential trend change out of this, since we've been in a downtrend for over a year now. So be looking for one more capitulation flush, and that'd be to the downside. And you can see, like over here, how it happened. This was back in March 2020. We had a big flush. And then also, if you really step back here, and this is the most similar because I lived through this here, guys. This was crazy. We ended up just in this descending triangle for the longest time. I mean, guys, this was hundreds of days that we spent moving sideways here. And then things got really tight, and it was right around $6,500 here, this point of control. And then we had a drop from $6,500 all the way down to that $3,000 before we started rallying back up to over about $13,000, $14,000. So that's kind of something similar I'm looking at here. Not saying we have to break to the downside, but we've really been moving sideways, and we have to prepare for that break. Do you see how it came on heavy volume here? Same deal as what we're looking for over here. If our breaks to the downside, it has to be on heavy volume, and same to the upside. If we do get an upside move out of here, we need to get over about 20,500 first, and then be up to around that 22,000, and then up to around the 25,000 is the big marker for me. If we can get over 25,000 and we step back here, guys, the next major area I would look at for resistance would be right around that $30,000, and then it'd probably be up to around that $40,000. So if we do get a move to the upside and we start breaking some of these overhead resistances here with volume, that could be a really nice move for us as well. But what I would look for, guys, is the big volume, whether it be to the upside or the downside, and have a plan. Okay, so if I see massive volume coming in here and we start breaking over some of these highs that we had previously of the 20,500 and then the 22,700 and then, you know, the 25,000, we start breaking through that on heavy volume, that could be a momentum play, and you could try to ride that up to 30,000 and get in and out pretty quick. So that's kind of my plan right here, guys. At this range, I don't want to jump in, whether it be to the upside or the downside. I'm going to patiently wait, but have those limit orders ready down at some of these lower levels in case we do break to the downside. If we break to the upside and it's on confirmed volume, then most likely I would just market buy with a smaller position and try to ride that up the best that I could. But stepping back on the 1-day time frame here, if we take a look, our VWAP is finally in the positive, so that's good. We're at 1.19. Money flow is still in the negative, though. We're at negative 8.35, so something we have to watch. And our relative strength is at 45, so we have not crossed above that 50, showing that strength yet. But we have been gaining a little bit of strength there, guys, so we're going to have to wait and see and just be patient. I know this range is testing our patience. It's been over 100 days that we've been moving sideways for the most part now, but we have to be patient and we have to ride this out. And we have to have our plan ready. So now if we get into the 4-hour time frame, and we'll just work our way through this, you can see this range, guys. I mean, this has just been crazy. And also, if you like the line graph, something that can help you out here, it's really good for just drawing trend lines. You can see this here as well. So we could draw a trend line on that, trying to get a break through that if it's going to be to the upside, and watching on volume. So that's a really big deal. But what you do, you go into your indicators, or I'm sorry here guys, we go right next to the indicators, and you can see you have your candles, hollow candles. I like to use Heikin-Ashi as well, regular candles, but go into that line graph, and then that can show it for you. And then we could even put this here for our support, and we could watch that, similar to that descending triangle, which 70% of the time it will break to the downside, and roughly about 30% of the time it will break to the upside there. So no guarantees, but you can see even on the 4-hour time frame just how much we've been really bouncing back and forth and chopping in this range. So if we bring up our relative strength, we're going to be at 48 right there, still trying to get up above that 50. Our VWAP is going to be at negative 10.48, and our money flow is at negative 3.57. So the money flow is doing better, but the VWAP is doing worse on the 4-hour time frame. If we take a look at that, then if we get into the 1-hour time frame, we step back here. This is just really going to show that range yet again to you. Just chopping back and forth. And guys, the main thing that I would look for, I want to trade trending markets, whether it be bullish, bearish. I'm not a big fan of the choppy or the ranging markets. Those are the ones that you kind of just want to stay out of, because you can see all this whipsaw back and forth. And some of it's even on heavy volume, both to the upside and the downside. You get these big spike ups and then it'll just reverse on you, and that's where you can lose money. So just being patient in this market and sitting back and watching the market is one of the best things that you can do in this space. And my buddy, the Wealth Watchman, really helped me with that, because as my whole life, I've always kind of been a mover and a shaker. I like to get things done, and with trading, you know, I'd always want to take a trade and feel like I'd have to be in a trade, but there's many times that you do need to just sit back and watch the market. There's 3 positions. There's long, short, and there's sitting back in cash, watching the market, waiting for a great opportunity, looking for these pivot levels and these pivot points. So on the 1-hour time frame, what we're looking at now, relative strength is going to be at 45. If we get into our VWAP, it's going to be at negative 2.0, and money flow at negative 4.40. So one thing I can tell you guys, I can't tell you which way we're going to break. No one knows, and many times it comes in hard and fast, like in the middle of the night. But what I can tell you is you have to have a plan. So whether that be limit buy orders down in this range if we get a big flush down, or whether that be you trading some momentum with a break to the upside, that's fine, but you have to have a plan, and you really have to step back, guys. And just remember for Bitcoin here, guys, really looking at this main cycle. You know, I lived through this. I got in back in this range here. I've lived through the hype, the bear market when I just felt so terrible and, you know, upset. And just to tell you guys, you know, Lord willing, we're going to get through this together, and this will be something that we can look back on and say, you know what, we made it through another bear market, and hopefully we can get things moving. But you can see this big area here, this green down in this range, about $10,000. I think that could be a nice area. Loading some limit buy orders from about that 12,000 all the way down, I'd say to about 7,000 or so, guys, right in that range if we do get a flush to the downside. So just be patient out there, guys. Not saying it's going to happen, but just really look for that heavy volume, and that can give you a clue. Hope this helps. God bless each and every one of you. Take care.